Hello, guys. It's Keaney here, and I am doing my Royal Rumble predictions for the Royal Rumble pay-per-view coming up on Saturday night. Fisher and Krusty will be doing theirs as well. We're all doing them individually, and then we'll open it up to you guys on Twitter in due course, probably Thursday this week. But let's kind of get into the matches. The first one we've got is Becky Lynch and Doudrop for the Raw Women's title. And I think this one's quite an easy one to predict. It's kind of why I started with it. I think Becky Lynch is the obvious winner here. I don't think we're going to see Doudrop win the belt at this point. I think she needs a bit more build. And yeah, I just can't see how. Surely at this point, Becky's keeping the belt to the Rumble. I mean, surely she's not losing it before then because she's the biggest women's star they have. So they need her to be champion. So yeah, Becky, that one's an easy one. Get her one over and done with straight away. So I'll move on now to the mixed tag team match with Beth Phoenix and Edge v Miz and Maryse. I think this one is it's tricky, this one, because we said on the pod before, I think we all thought that maybe Miz would beat Edge first time around, then lead into this, and then Edge would get his win back. But Edge won the first singles match between the two. But for me, the build-up has been very much built around Edge and Beth are too strong, too good for Miz and Maryse, and they've had to use backhanded tactics to get over on them week after week. And it's kind of been a recurring theme. Again, just finished Raw this morning, so saw the ending there of Maryse's birthday segment where Edge and Beth looked really strong. And again, you kind of double guess, you kind of double think with the WWE booking about whether, they've gone over on the go home show, so maybe they won't go over on the pay-per-view. But I think I'm going to go for Beth and Edge here. Although this one is close because I think Miz and Maryse could win through dodgy tactics. They've kind of done that a lot in the build-up, and I don't know. I thought, maybe they would have left the brick in the handbag trick for the pay-per-view, but they've kind of already shown that hand, and I don't know what else they can do. So yeah, I've got to go Beth and Edge, I think, for this one. And then we kind of move on to the two title matches, the men's title matches on the card. Again, this is recorded on the Tuesday today. Yeah, sorry, on the Tuesday. So it's a long time before the pay-per-view. There may be matches added, and if there is, then I'll come back on and share my predictions for those matches. But obviously, the card as we have it now, you've got the 4 matches and then the 2 Rumble matches. And I don't think we'll go much more than that because on Rumble cards, they don't tend to have too many other matches because the Rumbles take up, an hour each. So yeah, they don't tend to add too much. But one thing, again, we'll go into detail on the usually weekly review, but I think they've done really well this year is they've built up the undercard of the pay-per-view, probably more so than the Rumble. They've not really built up the Rumble matches to kind of much success, in my opinion, which makes the Rumble predictions harder, which is kind of what you want. Sometimes it's quite obvious who you think is going to win because they're kind of showing a story for someone, but there isn't too many instances of that this time around. But anyway, I'll get on to Brock and Lashley first. Lesnar, Lashley. Build up to this has been brilliant. And if you've listened to the previous pods, I've kind of said that I think Reigns is going to cost Brock the match here. I still think Heyman's with Reigns. And I think we're leading up to Brock v Reigns at Mania. I don't think this was the original plan. I think they planned to maybe finish this at day one. But because of the COVID situation, they've changed paths slightly, and I think it was still heading to that point. So I'm going for Bobby Lashley to win the WWE title here. As a big title change before Mania. And again, depending on what story you want to tell, you could build up to another Brock v Lashley match at Mania. You could build up to Brock Roman. I mean, Brock can go with anyone really. And, I've said it so many times, the top of the men's division at the moment is so stacked in WWE that they kind of can't miss with the Mania main events. So I don't think, and I kind of get I'm not quite sure how you go to Mania with both Brock and Roman as champions. So for that reason, I have to have one of them lose the belt here, and I'm picking Brock to lose to Lashley. Again, I don't quite know how it's going to. The only way I can see it happening is if Reigns or Heyman stop Brock winning it, and that's how we get there. And also the way Brock's been so dismissive of Lashley in the build-up just makes me think that Lashley is going to get it done, and maybe Lashley turns face in the process, because Lashley is. It's hard to tell. I don't think either of them are particularly face or heelish. I think Brock's probably the face here, but yeah, it's kind of a bit in between. And that kind of moves on to Reigns v Rollins. And if you can probably tell from my prediction there that I'm going to predict Roman Reigns to retain here. Again, Rollins winning this would not be a massive surprise at all. I think they would need more build to have Reigns lose the belt. I don't think he can lose the belt on a 3-week build, personally. I think that'd be a mad decision. I know Krusty's a big Rollins fan, so maybe he'll disagree with me, but I don't think Rollins is set up to win the belt here. I think this will be a great match and a great storytelling match. And, you know, maybe we redo this at Mania. Again, they can redo this at Mania with a bet. I would love this feud to have, you know, a month, 2-month build, 3-month build, really go into like kind of the emotional side of these two's relationship. And we're going to get more on SmackDown on Friday, because Rollins has said he's going to be there, which, you know, kind of expected. But yeah, I'm going for Roman Reigns to retain, which leads on now to the Rumble matches, which are the hardest ones to predict. And just before I get into it, we the way we do predictions here at Recharge is we have 2 picks for each Rumble. So you get 2 chances. I mean, in a match of 30, you're still getting, you know, a small percentage chance, but 1 in 30 is a bit shot in the dark. So we're going for 2 in 30, which I think's a fair way of doing it. So in no particular order, my women's picks. I'll start with Belair. I think she's probably the most likely woman announced to win. There isn't many standouts. I mean, you've got people like Rhea, but is Rhea, you know, she's just been beaten down by Nikki Ash 2 weeks in a row and doesn't feel like she's set up for a main event at WrestleMania. You've got Liv Morgan. Again, she's kind of been cooled down a bit since her Becky title match. You've got Charlotte Flair in there, obviously, but I don't really know what you get out of Charlotte Flair winning and choosing her own opponent. Feels a bit, it just doesn't feel right to me. And the only thing I have against Belair winning it is she won it last year. So 2 years on the trot does feel a bit overkill, but I'm just looking at the options and I don't see a better one than Bianca Belair at all. Another one that crossed my mind that I'm not going to pick is Lita, because she faced off with Charlotte and she got such a big pop, and I think they could do worse than putting Lita in a title match at Mania. You know, as long as she can still go, she still looks the part. I mean, it's not a crazy idea, but I'm not going to go Lita. So Belair is one of my picks. And my other one is someone not announced for the Rumble yet. And there's a few people not announced. You know, these injury comebacks. I mean, Asuka is an option, but I think Sasha's declared out of the Rumble. And again, I don't know her injury status, so this could be you know, just be giving away a point here because she may not even be able to compete. But I'm going for Bayley as my second or my other pick to win the Royal Rumble, because I think her coming back would be a big deal. And I think they could put Bayley, Becky, or Bayley, Charlotte at Mania would be insane. So I think that is my other pick. And probably if I had to narrow it down to one, I would probably go for Bayley, even though she's not announced. I don't know if she's even medically clear. I just don't think this is it's a very muddy card, and there's a lot of unknowns to come. I mean, there's a lot of rumors of Ronda Rousey is in talks to come back, and, you know, Rumble's potential for that. And, you know, if Ronda Rousey's back, then you'll be mad not to pick her. But, you know, it's hard to tell with these unknowns. I mean, Lacey Evans could be back, Asuka, Alexa Bliss is going to come back surely for the Rumble. So there's a lot of a lot of moving parts in the women's division, and there's no standout for me. So this was a really hard one to predict. Well, I think both Rumbles are really hard to predict this year, and I'm interested to see when you guys all predict as well what how kind of close we are with our predictions. I mean, even I haven't spoken to Fisher or Krusty about these predictions, so it'd be interesting to see what they go for, and if they're on a similar thought process to me. I mean, I could be way off, they could be way off, and it'd be interesting to see what happens. But I just love going into Rumble not having a clue who's going to win either Rumble. So just to clarify, Bayley and Bianca Belair are my two picks for the women's. Let's move on to the men's. This again, I think the build for the men's Rumble has been almost non-existent. They haven't really told too many stories. Usually you'll get someone on a comeback trail, or someone has a point to prove, or someone's on his way back and they're the one that move on. You think back to Shinsuke winning, there's kind of a story to build up to that. I think Orton on the year he won it recently. So yeah, there's a few options. I mean, Orton is an option, Riddle's an option, Damian Priest is an option, I think. Kevin Owens, you can't rule him out, but I think Priest and Owens are kind of in a US title feud, because that hasn't happened. There's been no title change yet. I think if Owens had won the belt off Priest on Raw, I might have gone for Damian Priest. I might have just gone for it, because I think Priest is on that trajectory. We mentioned it a lot on the pod. But my first pick, I feel this is a bit out there, but just because there's a story being told, and he's on TV every week with Vince McMahon. But my first pick is Austin Theory, and I can't believe I'm predicting Austin Theory to win the Royal Rumble this soon into his main roster run, or second main roster run, I guess. But I just think I'm looking around and we've spoken before about the SmackDown division not being strong enough. We're talking about Sheamus as maybe the best mid card on SmackDown, or Kofi, or there's these guys, but they're not winning the Rumble, are they? Let's be realistic. And so I think realistically it's going to be a Raw superstar who's going to win, and maybe they who they challenge, I don't know. I mean, I don't know where Austin Theory fits in to Mania, but I'm just looking at stories being told. This has been a long-term story of Austin. It's been but basically since the draft, a couple of months now, he's been with Vince. Vince is trying to push him and giving him being harsh to him, but also giving him kind of pointers. And I think I just can see Austin Theory doing it. I don't think Vince is going to help him at any point, but I think that's a story that could be told. And Austin Theory is, one of the kind of the future of WWE. I think he's young, he's talented, he's got the look, he's got the talk, he's got the approval from Vince. So I think he's as good as an option as I can think of. I just can't think of anyone else. I mean, I'm looking again. I don't know Drew's situation. Is Drew going to be back for the Rumble? I don't think so. I could be wrong. If Drew's back, then he is a very strong chance. But I'm not going to go for Drew just because I don't know. I went for Bayley, so I could have gone for Drew. I think AJ again. I don't know about AJ. I mean, we've mentioned Omos. Omos winning it would not surprise me, but I'm not predicting it. And again, he wasn't even mentioned on Raw, so it's hard to. Again, you'd have thought they'd have built up Omos before this match, or okay, AJ did beat Austin Theory on Raw, so Austin Theory's come off back of a loss, but he did beat Balor. He's had a good run. He's beat a few people, clean. So. And yeah, I can't think of else of an Austin Theory, so I'm going for Austin Theory. And if I get this right, I feel like this might be an outlier prediction. I think anyone else is going to predict Austin Theory, so I'll be well happy if this one comes in. And my second men's Rumble pick is Big E. We mentioned after day one, if you go back and listen to the day one recap show, that we said the winner of the Rumble will probably come from this main event, that 5-way, which Brock was added to. And so obviously you've got Brock and Lashley who have got their own match. And then the other three are Rollins, who's in the other match, Owens, who's in the US title feud, and Big E. And Big E, again, someone who was not mentioned on Raw tonight, was not featured on Raw tonight. He might be on SmackDown with Kofi, but he's kind of doing weird tag team stuff with Kofi. It doesn't really make sense what he's doing to me. It just seems, and like, you know, on SmackDown, he looked a bit, you know, peed off. So I don't know, but that's a story I think they could tell. Is he lost his belt? You know, and would he have lost it if it wasn't for Reigns' COVID? Again, it's all speculation, but you know, the rumors are maybe he wouldn't have lost it. So I think Big E is my number one pick. Again, if I'm picking one, I'm picking Big E. I can see him when I can see him getting his match at Mania against Lesnar or Reigns or Lashley. All of these would make sense. Even a Seth would kind of make sense if Seth won it off Reigns. I think that would make sense as a match. So I think Big E has the most possibilities heading into Mania. So yeah, I just have to go for him. And again, there's not obvious. I don't think AJ. I don't think Priest. I don't think Omos. I don't think Drew. I don't know if he's back. I mean, the only thing that could happen is, you know, Lesnar Lashley goes on first or something. Lesnar loses to Lashley, and then he comes in and just destroys everyone and wins the Rumble. Could happen. Obviously, it could happen. Same thing with Reigns. Reigns could lose to Rollins. Reigns could come in and win the Rumble. Could happen. Lashley could come in and win a Rumble. They do this sometimes where they have title matches and the person who loses does come into the Rumble. So that's the only red herring. I think, obviously, if Lashley was in the Rumble, I'd probably pick him. If Rollins was in it, I'd probably pick him. Same for Brock. If those four were in the Rumble, I'd probably pick them ahead of Big E. But because Big E is the only one who is definitely in the Rumble, I have to go for him. So yeah, it's a tough one. Again, I can't wait to see what everyone else predicts, but this is a very tough year for the Rumble predictions. So I'll just kind of recap quickly, then I'll sign off. This has been longer than I anticipated. I've gone for Becky Lynch to retain against Doudrop. I've gone for Beth Phoenix and Edge to beat The Miz and Maryse. I have gone for Bobby Lashley to win the WWE title off of Brock Lesnar. I have gone for Roman Reigns to retain the Universal title against Seth Rollins. And then my Rumble picks, the women's, my two picks are Bianca Belair and Bayley. And my men's picks are Austin Theory and Big E. So can't wait to see you guys' predictions. You know, join in on Twitter on Thursday. Keep a lookout for that. And as always, check out our pods, check out our videos. We're now, obviously, you know, watching this. We're now on YouTube, so please get involved with that as well. You know, like, subscribe with the podcast, download, listen. You know, all this kind of stuff. We love it. We love interactions, and just kind of shout out as well if anyone's interested in you know, talking just about wrestling, because we're always looking for people to speak to about wrestling, and maybe, you know, maybe making appearances future in pods. You know, we've had Tizzle come on, which was just that he was at a live show with us and we spoke to him, and then we've kind of formed that relationship. So we're looking to do that with other people as well. So feel free to get in contact, message us just to chat about wrestling. We can chat wrestling for days. There's three of us, so one of the three of us is always free. And we've got a lot planned for this year. So watch this space, watch YouTube. We've got a lot planned for YouTube. And yeah, just can't wait for the Rumble on Saturday. So enjoy the Rumble. Good luck predicting. And we will catch you on our Friday show. But don't miss out Krusty and Fisher's predictions, which will come before the show. So see you then, guys.